everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Kashrus, presented by the Kashrus Awareness Project in conjunction with Torah Anytime. Today we are privileged to be joined by Rabbi Sholem Fishbane, Kashrus Administrator of the Chicago Rabbinical Council and Executive Director of ACO. I am also joined by Rabbi Mendelson of Kosher Services. Thank you to both of you for being here today. It could come out that what someone thinks is a chumrah is really coming out to be a kula, because let's say you could kasher something with hagala and you do it b'tachlis hahidr. But this fellow thinks, you know what, I'm going to do libun on this, I'm going to take a blowtorch, but like you said, if you're not kashering it properly, which chances are you're not, it's coming out that what you think is a chumrah is really a kula, and if you would just do hagala the way you're supposed to, I'm just bringing that as an example.
It's such a great point, and there's one other area that we do a lot, which is exactly that point, and that's what's called steamers. We know them as steam jennies. Basically, it's a hookup with a gas, and it's a water steamer that you're spritzing, and it looks like really hot and all of that. And we cringe when we see this. Why? The halacha is you're only allowed to kosher with water. You cannot kosher with steam. People don't necessarily know that. So on Amazon, you can buy these steamers for $50, $100, and they're walking around, and people might be koshering with the steam. So you're not koshering. You may even get one that does have a little water, but Rabbi Aaron could tell you even precisely, if you're a half an inch too high above, right?
Above the surface?
Above the surface, by the time it hits the surface, it's below Kadei Resicha. You're not koshering. So we have done so much research. In our office, we bought many steamers, and we test them all out, and we came down to like one or two that actually do the job where you're koshering with water, and that's in the $2,000 range.
And you got to go very, very slow with that. I've used expensive machines too.
So why would someone even bother using a steamer?
Well, it looks like you're koshering, but you have to know the halacha about the steam doesn't kosher. You have to understand the like you're saying, how far up. And the cheap $100, $200, they're not doing the job. So again, if somebody walks in and they're opening a koshering business and they go quickly on Amazon, so what's your experience with the steamers?
So I would have to give a little introduction about steam in general, and then we could see how it applies to a table, let's say. So Ramosha had this shaila, actually, about koshering with steam, and he spoke about the condensate. So basically, the way water is, it freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. When it gets to 212, it boils, and steam is much higher than 212. The only way to let's say I have a pressure cooker, let's say, and I'm cooking water, and then the water keeps boiling, my steam will be much hotter than 212. Water itself is impossible to be at 212, at more than 212. Just the way Hashem made the world.
The max, right?
Yeah, the max is 212. Steam could be hotter. So let's say you go into a factory and you have steam boilers and they're shooting steam through. You could be well, 200s and into the 300s of steam going through the system. Once it comes into water, once it starts condensating, then it's already below 212.
It drops.
Right.
By the way, I wonder if that's where the misconception regarding koshering with steam came from, that because steam gets so hot, so subconsciously people think, hey, this must be even better than water.
So let me continue on what Ramosha wrote, and then we'll speak about factories today, and then we'll speak about the house. So basically, Ramosha said that you can't kosher with steam. He says it openly. He says, but if the condensate is in this vessel, reaches the share of roischim, then whatever the share of roischim is, that's not for today. But whatever the share of roischim is, if the condensate, as it condensates, it turns back into water, that share is the share roischim, then that's good for koshering. So I've flown out to places where there's the big tanks, a few stories high. Yeah, and I've had to. You have to go on a forklift, and you have to be belt. It's a whole big balagan. So it took a few days to kosher this factory, but the cleaning and everything. They had $1 million machines just for the cleaning purposes. I kid you not. And eventually, so what we did was we had steam coming in at, I don't remember the exact temperature, coming from the top,
Pressurized.
But I'm not talking about little steamers like this. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of machinery working on this. And then it's a few stories high. So after an hour or two, it keeps dripping down, drip, 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 drip. Eventually, there's a little stream of water from the bottom.
Comes out. Yeah.
Comes out. But it's condensate and it's cold tank. So eventually, after a long time, then we put a thermometer to the thing, and now the water is at sheroischen. It's water, it's not steam anymore.
You're kashering with water.
The thing started out dry, comes in steam, condensates into water, keeps flowing.
That's where the real mumchus comes in.
So
But that's in a factory.
That's in a factory. So we're getting just to explain the concept of what does it mean steam and then into water, into condensate, and into roischen. That's what I'm just trying to bring the story. I don't want to give a drasha here how to kasher a factory, but the point is steam, condensate, water get to sheroischen. That's called kashering. That's where Moshe wrote. That's how we do it bisman hazeh.
Which is not possible in a home with
Right,
those.
it's not going to happen in a home, and typically people are not standing there with a thermometer measuring the temperature of whatever
So again,
water
it goes
is,
to
right?
the main
So-
point of mumchus, someone that's trained like Ravarn or others, mumchus, knowledgeable about the machine, and patience, right? Patience.
So I didn't.
Risa, can we? I don't want to forget to say one thing about about koshering, and that is there's people forgot an important halacha. At least as Ashkenazim, you cannot kosher once the Zman beer starts, which is Erev Pesach, obviously, right? That's it. It's done. Whatever happens, happens. So those of us that maybe will go Chol Hamoed, down to Orlando or to some house and, come in Chol Hamoed and start koshering. Efshar, as they say in Eretz Yisrael. You cannot. The halacha is you cannot kosher once the Zman beer starts. So keep that in mind as you plan your Chol Hamoed.
Svardim may have a
There may be,
Pesach.
right, but certainly if you come across that,
So there are certain. Mostly it's true. There are differences of halacha. The main halachas of kashering and Pesach is in Orach Chaim Taf Nun Aleph, and Taf Nun Beis speaks about the zman of kashering. But when people call me, I say, if it's past this man, tas shaylas chacham. I don't want to start getting involved. It's complicated. You are, a house kitchen is forget about it. But if you're going to be kashering something with libun, that's a different story. But I don't, as we spoke, we don't kasher counters, whatever. If you're going to Orlando for Pesach, don't kasher any counters, don't kasher any sinks.
you're talking about Chol Hamoed.
Chol Hamoed, on
Yeah,
Pesach.
no,
Once it's past this
Doesn't
month,
work.
you just cover all the counters and you'll clean the sink well. You put in
Insert.
something thing to hold the kalim, and you just do everything. There's no, it's a lot of b'di'evids, kasher on Pesach.
Well, Reb Sholem and Reb Aaron, thank you to both of you for this very insightful conversation. I know we only touched the tip of the blowtorch, the tip of the iceberg. There's so much to discuss, but this type of conversation, which opens our minds, the non-experts, opens our minds to know what to look out for and to be vigilant, is tremendously instructive. So thank you to both of you.